Hi. So I've made a few notes about the messages that I received on Saturday, which was the 22nd, during meditation, and I'll try and touch on them as quickly as I can because there's a few. So it's the first thing was all about healing of polarity and what this actually means and why it's so important. So when we have two polarized energies, so completely opposite energies, and we merge them together, it actually creates this intense almost burst of energy that we can use to manifest. So when people talk about magic or alchemy and all these sort of topics, what they're actually doing is taking two opposing forces and combining them, harnessing them, and directing them in a specific way to create a desired outcome. And that's what people call magic. So if you can learn to fuse opposing energies within, then that same power is generated within us, and we can use that and become magicians of our own reality, which I guess is what we're meant to have been all along. So that's why it's so important to embrace the shadow and the light, because they're two opposing energies, and by bringing them together and making and the way that this gets shown is if you picture two magnets, and as you bring them together, they're trying to repel each other, they're pulling away, and you bring them close and you can feel that magnetic energy pushing each other away. We don't want to come close together. Think of that as the shadow and the light. But if the hands holding the magnet are stronger than the resistance, they can push the magnets together and collapse that energy into each other, which then creates a whole new energy, because you're taking two completely opposite things and making them one. So the message the message is that this huge transformation will happen, but the irony is it can't be forced, it can't be controlled, it can't be created, and it usually only happens when there is great resistance present. So if you think of the universe as the hands, and us as, I guess, the two magnets, and we're trying to resist something. So we're resisting something in our life that we're not happy with. We're resisting a part of ourselves that we don't like. We're in resistance somehow. We're resisting the changes that are happening in the world. Whatever it is, the resistance is there. And so it's like a dance, and it will continue for as long as you keep resisting. I mean, we can do this dance for coming close, pulling away, coming close, pulling away. But ultimately, when the hands that are holding the magnets, which is the universe, decides that something's going to happen, its power is far greater than ours. So we can resist all we want, but eventually the universe is just going to push us into this fusion of sorts. So resistance is futile is the message. Resistance will only mean that the energies around you will continue to intensify, and you'll experience chaos, so that the transformation can happen. It's like when you hold the magnets sort of way apart, nothing's really happening. They're not close enough together. They're just in separate worlds. But it's when you bring them together that's when you experience it. So we're kind of having all our separate parts pushed in together, and no choice but to come to terms with them and integrate them and love them in wholeness, because that's the only way that we're going to make that leap in consciousness. Because if we can't fully love, accept, respect and embrace ourself, then how can we do it for everyone else that we're interconnected with? So it has to start at home and filter its way out into the outer world. Nothing in the outer world is going to change what's within. So the way to avoid, if you don't want the chaos and you don't want the turmoil and you don't want this intensity around you, which personally I don't really, the analogy is to just float down the stream. So when we're in resistance, it's like we're swimming against the current. We're getting really tired. We're getting really fatigued. We're just, no, I don't want to go there. I don't know where I'm going, but it's not there. I'm happy here. I know what to expect here. The water's shallow. I'm content. All of those sort of things. But if you can not fight it and not try and control and just trust, and this is so hard sometimes, trust that the universe, the river, the flow is taking you to where you need to be. Now, it might not be somewhere you particularly want to be, but maybe that's because you really need to be there and a part of you knows that. So yeah, try to just trust and surrender and just let the current take you. You're going to get there eventually. If you're meant to be there, you're going to end up there. So you can either float on your back and admire the scenery as you go past and you know, just be in that complete state of surrender and trust and enjoy the ride, or you can wear yourself out like I do often and try and fight my way back against the current, and yeah, it's just exhausting. The other thing that comes up is a lot of people are going to be feeling insecurity, confusion. I feel like the worst of the fear of survival is over. But now this is just, people are attached to what they know. Everyone to a degree feels safe and secure with what they know, with what they're comfortable with and what they're familiar with. So we want to stay there, but nothing ever changes when we stay there, because why would it? We're comfortable. We don't want it to change. So that's where the universe kind of says, you know, change is going to happen whether you like it or not. So the way to navigate this is going to be, since we're talking about water a lot here and the flow in the river, is, okay, we're going to say an anchor. We all need an anchor to stabilize us when things start to spin around us. Otherwise, we get caught up in the spin and we lose ourselves, and we're no good to anyone, especially ourselves, when we're spiraling. So we need to embrace change and create an anchor in our own consciousness, in our own being, not in the outer world. Because the message with that is that if our safety, our security, everything that makes us feel good is an anchor in the outer world, then we have no control over when we feel safe, when we don't, because that world's going to change continuously. So we need to be able to drop anchor within and create that safe harbor for ourselves, that safe space where we're not pulled into the illusion of that outer chaos. If you always are looking to the outer world for that security, then you're always going to feel fear. You're always going to feel confused when things change, because just as you get comfortable, it changes again. And then all of a sudden you're lost again, and you don't know how to navigate this new reality, so to speak. And that's when that confusion, that fear kicks in for a lot of people, and that's why they become so resistant to change. They just want to hold so tightly. It's like a security blanket with a little child that you don't really see why they need it, but they need it. It's what they hold on to when you take them somewhere new, when they're feeling uncertain, when they don't feel so great, feeling sick. That anchor, that security blanket has to be within. It can't be in the outer world. So when I talk about our anchor, it's basically your internal sense of navigation. It's that internal focus, that internal voice, that compass that guides you, and it's not meant to guide anyone else. And so you can't always offer advice to people that's right for them based on what your inner is telling you, because it's there to guide you. And same as it's worthwhile listening to advice of other people sometimes, and depending on the person, but ultimately it's got to be your compass that guides you on your path. That's the biggest thing to remember. The other thing with placing your anchor in the outer world, then the outer world becomes your truth, and you lose your inner truth. And then what the world dictates to you as truth becomes yours, and that's a big problem. So the anchor needs to be within. There's some questions that come up too for people to ask themselves. Where in your life are you accepting truth? Where you've accepted, illusion as truth and made it your reality. Where are people selling out themselves? So really take a look at our lives and see, are we still in a job that we don't love? Are we in a relationship that we know is toxic, but we make excuses as to why we're staying? Are we not following our passion because we've got a million reasons why we're too busy and there's other responsibilities? Basically, whatever you're doing that just, it's not right for you, need to take a deeper look at that and ask why, and take steps to stand up for what it is that you truly believe in, what you truly love and what you truly want in your life, and then work out how to take steps, even just small ones, towards making that your new reality. A lot of people are still focusing on what they don't love about themselves instead of looking at themselves with loving eyes. A lot of people, I don't know if it's just being locked down and not having the freedom. A lot of people haven't been able to go to, beauticians and things like that, and different things, but and I suspect, because I know it's true for me, quite a few people have probably put on a little bit of weight with just eating differently and different routines, and now not feeling so good about that. I went shopping the other day and I was crying because I just felt horrible in everything. And then the one thing that I did find that I felt absolutely amazing in, just inside, I felt beautiful for the first time in ages. They only had like a really tiny size and I didn't fit it, and I can't find the dress anywhere, so heartbroken. But I came home and I wasn't so devastated, but what I could really feel when I was at the shopping centre was just so many people feeling depressed and unhappy with how they've become over the last year, I'll say. And we're really judging ourselves harshly. We're our biggest inner critic. This came up again a while ago, but we are so harsh on ourselves. We expect these things from ourselves that we don't seem to expect from anybody else, which is just crazy. So the message is, start looking at yourself with loving eyes instead of critical ones, and start to notice everything about you that you feel good about. And yeah, sure, you might have to look hard for a while. We all have those days, but what makes you feel good about being you? And then let that light shine. It's that inner light that really magnetizes people. And it's really time for all of us to put the doubts and the criticisms away and just embrace what makes us special and unique and beautiful in our own way, and let that light shine. The world can never have too much light right now, I can tell you. The other thing, honest communication. A lot of us still aren't speaking our truth. There's things that we still need to say to people, maybe ourselves, that we're afraid to say. So speak your truth. It's time to start really being honest with ourselves and others about what works for you and what doesn't. And, these may change rapidly with the changes going on within and around us, but as long as you say what it is that you really mean and that you really want to say, and you do it kindly and respectfully, then what the other person does with that is up to them. So we've got to let go of fear of other people's responses to our truth, I think, is a big one. And I know that's hard, and I struggle with that a lot at times. Sometimes I'm better at it than others, and I'm getting better, but it is something that I think is a difficult one, and most of us don't want to create conflict. We don't want to hurt somebody else, even inadvertently, no matter how kindly you deliver it. Sometimes there's the potential to cause pain, but again, that's not your responsibility if you've delivered your truth with love. The other thing that came up was increasing life force energy and earth connection. So it's going to become really, really, really super important, and I can attest to this personally because I feel it massively and pick up all sorts of nasties in my energy field when I don't make the time to clear it daily, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on how much work I've been doing with other people. So a daily energetic routine, like you get up, you shower, you have a routine for self-care for your body, brushing your teeth, washing your face, all of these sort of things. We need to do that energetically too. If it's not already, it needs to become a daily part of your routine if you want to have less energetic interference along the way. Also becoming conscious of the energy that's around us, that's within us and on us. So being conscious of the clothes that we wear, the products that we use on our body, energy of places that we visit, and also the energy that's in whatever we consume, whether it be liquid or food. So just trying to ensure that we're conscious of the vibration it carries. I know this is not new for some people. Diet's been one of the things that I've resisted for quite a while. So I'm just, maybe this is more for me than anyone else. But I just feel like people are really going to start making more conscious choices. I've strayed away from red meat. It was and it wasn't a conscious choice. I just found myself feeling I didn't want it, and the smell was putting me off, and then after a while it hasn't been part of my diet for quite a while now, and chicken would be the only other meat that I eat on a regular basis, and even that is I'm eating less of it and having less of a desire for it. So I think naturally we're just going to start to gravitate towards food that has more light in it. So, when you look at something in a packet, I'd say there's pretty much zero light. You pick something fresh from the garden, I'd say there's 100%. So we're looking at how much light is in our food, and also what we can do to improve the quality of our water, things like that. I don't purify my water, but I do crystal charge it. So anyway, the final message that came in is that we can't go back to the old ways, and do we really want to? For a lot of them, it's now we must become something new, individually and collectively. So this is where we are going through a transformation that's going to completely alter the way we approach life moving forward. Not everyone will embrace this, and not everyone will be on the same journey, but a new dawn is rising. And each change, and trust me, there will be many, brings potential for growth, for beauty to be found, for joy to be experienced. So be present and notice the opportunities, and see them for what they are. They're doorways to awakening for those that haven't awakened yet, and they're gateways for further awakening for those that already are on that path. So I'm feeling very guided to start recording meditations that work with the violet flame. I feel that this will be an important part of people's daily energetic practice. For me, it already was, but it's now moving to the foremost of my awareness, I suppose, and my priorities in doing things. So yeah, I'll be talking more on that soon. But anyway, this is, again, longer than I wanted it to be. But hope you're all doing really well, and sending love to everybody. Bye.